Hi, my name is Kanal,
Hi, this is Galen.
and welcome to the Geeks of the Valley podcast, where we connect with some of the brightest minds globally who are leading their respective industries today to discuss some of the hottest upcoming trends and how their work is affecting the global economy. Today, this morning from Hong Kong, we have Samson Lee joining us, the CEO of Coinstreet. Samson, thank you for having us and joining us this morning.
Hi, thank you. It's great pleasure for me to join. Really, thank you for having me as well.
Perfect. And how is the weather there in Hong Kong this morning?
It is great. It's just starting of the autumn, so it's nice and clear here.
Perfect. And so, Samson, my first question is how did it all start for you? What was the process like onto making your way up to becoming the CEO of one of the biggest, crypto companies out there in Hong Kong?
Well, it's an interesting process. Actually, I start a 5 minutes quick introduction of my background. I started out I'm in the tech industry for over 20 years. I started out since the .com. So I was with the IPO team with the first internet listed company in Hong Kong. So that's how I returned from Canada to Hong Kong, and then I stayed with the industry. Of course, we see the boom and bust of the .com, but I still stay around. I did different things like e-commerce, mobile payment, content, video streaming, cloud, and just a natural evolvement. In 2016, I come across this technology called blockchain, and I find it so fascinating. And then later on, I got just a coincidence. I got introduced through a common friend to a co-founder of Ethereum, Vitalik. So helping him to set up the community for Ethereum in Shenzhen purely on voluntary basis. And then the whole industry developed and took off, and we all know what happened in 2017 with the ICO boom. So at the time, we really find this blockchain is going to change the future of the financial industry, and also the ways people are financing their project as well.
Right.
So I team up with some traditional investment bankers. Actually, they from traditional investment banking. So we formed this company called Coinstreet with a vision of trying to be the Wall Street for the token world. So we are positioning ourselves as a boutique investment bank for the token world. So on one hand, our business is very simple, right? On one hand, we help to qualify and select high quality project, help them to get funded through tokenization, right? It could be utility token or security tokens. We can talk more about that later. And then, of course, on the other hand, we focus on the professional investor institution, helping the what we call the smart monies to find very interesting investment opportunity on a global scale.
Yeah, I mean, that's great.
Okay.
That's very impressive, Samson. And perhaps, Samson, could you please share some of your big projects that that Coinstreet Partner has actually collaborated with? Because definitely I can see your name around all across Hong Kong.
Yeah, our partners or clients actually come from all parts of the world. One of my favorite projects actually is working with the Gibraltar Stock Exchange back in 2017. They are not the biggest, of course, right? But they are very innovative and progressive. And starting in 2017, they already thinking the whole plan and roadmap of how to utilize blockchain in the stock exchange, and also how to use the traditional domain expertise from a very professional stock exchange operator point of view to operate a crypto exchange, right? So in that project together, we help them to launch a Gibraltar blockchain exchange, which is a crypto exchange, and also helping them to deploy like blockchain technology into the traditional stock exchange, which is a natural evolvement, of course, to the security tokens as well.
Right. No, that's fantastic, Samson, especially, seeing your wealth of experience in this industry. And, a lot of people who aren't, blockchain lovers like you, do not know, there are a lot of basics out there we want to, give the better crowd an understanding of, such as, when it comes to CoinStreet, you guys mainly focus on STOs. What is an STO, first of all?
Well, STO the full name stands for Security Token Offer. So basically, it's sales of security in a tokenized format to professional and institutional investors. So these very often the underlying securities very often are traditional asset class, like ownership of something, equity, debt product, fixed income, investment funds, or maybe in some case sharing of the economic rights.
I see. Okay. And when it comes to the greater aspect of what CoinStreet does, can you dive a little more into detail about the company, when it was founded, how it started, and why you decided to start something like this? Okay,
sure. Well, I started out with actually involving in blockchain and the distributed ledger technology. I find blockchain very amazing from the technology side, right? That's how it started. And then later on, because of my background, I have been doing like financing for many startup company, technology company. So I also have a technology plus a finance background. So when we look at the tokenization portion, right at the beginning, the way we look at it is from a corporate finance approach, right?
Okay.
So when we think about traditional corporate finance, we have the debt financing where people basically borrow money through the balance sheet. And we have debt equity financing where people issue shares, equity, and then the value will be derived by the earnings and the P&L of the company. So the way we look at tokens is it's just a new way of corporate finance where now companies can issue tokens and then create the value of the token for token economics. And they could work in both utility tokens and security tokens, but of course in different mechanism. And we see moving forward, corporation will likely to deploy a combination of different strategy, right? Just like today, right? We see a typical corporation, they may have some debt and they might also issue shares, right? And then we will see more and more company, I'm talking about like sizable, well-built company will be coming in and issue tokens. In fact, we start seeing that now, right? Like when we see like Facebook and Walmart and all these big players now thinking about issuing their own tokens.
Right. No, and you bring up a really good point there, Samson. And I think it kind of tears into the question that where does regulation sit in the current market, Samson, in regards to STOs, utility tokens? How does the world view today? How does Asia Pacific look at it today?
That's an interesting question, right? Because if we look at utility tokens, it is basically you can look at it as a pre-sale of a product or service, right? A token could be a future entitlement to a product or service. It could be access to a service network, and it could also be look at like a loyalty points, right? A reward system for redemption. So in that case, there's really no regulation, right? Because it's sales of goods and service, right? I think the bigger issue that we should look into for utility tokens, the tax issue, right? whether it's considered, pre-sales tax or whatever, right? But it's not a securities, right? So they will be very interesting because utility token could be sold to anybody, right? It's just a product and service.
I see.
On the other hand, security tokens, they are securities. And securities are not new industry. It has been around with very mature regulation framework around. So I think most of the jurisdiction now, especially in major financial markets, which are more mature, they will use existing security regulation and framework to regulate the security tokens activities, where they are more innovative jurisdiction, which maybe historically have less development on the equity market or stock market or security market. They actually came up with, like, for example, place like Malta, right, Gibraltar. So they actually came up with new regulations. For example, like the DLT framework, distributed ledger technology framework, to create a guideline of how to proceed on security tokens or utility tokens.
And Samson, in your perspective, with in light that the secondary markets are starting to be regulated, in terms of, in that regards, in the next 6 to 12 months or even a year from now, do you think secondary market trading of security token offerings will be commonly used?
Yes, absolutely. While now we are at the very early stage of the development of security token markets, it is true that most of the activities right now is focusing on the initial offering.
I see.
Right. So, initial subscription of new tokens or new project. The secondary trading liquidity is not yet here today. But I think the market is evolving and developing very rapidly, right? For the secondary trading, first of all, because it's handling secondary trading of securities, it is a regulated activities. Unlike the utility token or the crypto exchange, which is not security related. So the STO exchange, for example, will very often require a license from different jurisdiction. And I think different jurisdictions now is looking into, what goes in terms of the requirements of the license and the operator. There wasn't too many security tokens exchange out there yet, but definitely the number is growing by month. And on the other hand, when we see more interesting security tokens is being issued and circular in the market, and very often this initial subscription, they will end, right? And then people have to get the token through secondary trading, right? When they start really seeing the return from the token, then people will have a better way to put a valuation of the tokens, right? Just like, people putting valuation model on stock, and there will be analysis coming out. There will be analysts working on different security tokens and creating reports, and there will be reports that will identify any undervalued security tokens, right? So with that ecosystem start building up, and then I will see there will be secondary trading. There will be smart money coming in and trying to buy undervalued token or high potential tokens for a long-term basis.
Okay. So this is kind of like your 6 to 12 month outlook of what the process is going to kind of look like for a security token and how the industry is going to move along with it.
Right. And also, I don't think security token will replace the stock market, right? Because IPO is always IPOs. The stock market is always the stock market. The way I look at security token or security token exchange is almost like, because the token will be traded globally 24/7, right? So this is almost like a global OTC exchange.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
It's not open wildly to public, all the public investor or small